Alors, bonsoir tout le monde.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this meeting of April the 9th, 2018. Welcome to one and all. For the opening word, dear colleagues, let's have the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Everyone is called to order. We have a quorum tonight, in spite of those on vacation and the empty chairs.
Présentation, requête et pétition. 7.1, demande de renseignement des membres du Conseil au service.
Sorry about that. Is there any question for the RCMP representative on duty tonight? If there's no question, do you have something for us tonight, Sergeant? Not really, Your Worship. Only statistics. The statistics are posted on the website as usual. Every 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago there was 73 of them, and as you know, we are seriously investigating a serious offense that happened in the city of Moncton. That's all. No questions for the RCMP? Okay, no questions. If you want to leave, it's up to you. We can understand, considering the circumstances. Thank you. Next item, presentations of the financial statements for 2017. Mrs. Casey from Ernst & Young. Good evening. I will make the audit presentation for 2017. First of all, for the results, we did the audit. They were prepared according to the standard for the public sector, and also confirmed that we gave an opinion without reserve. It means that the financial statement are conformed to the public. As for the headlines, I will not go through the whole financial statement. I would not want to keep you all night, but I'll go through the main headlines. First of all, the financial statements were presented according to the public sector auditing, but the standards differ from the Municipalities Act. So the financial statements on the public sector accounting is different than the results that you see according to the accounting that you use internally. You can see the difference. You can see where the adjustments were made. And also, I would like to say that the unconsolidated statement, they include the results from all the funds, but also expansion Dieppe and management 1604. So as for the results, this for the financial year, December 31st, 2017, you finished with 170,320 compared to 167 million in 2016. As for your expenditures, it's 58 million compared to 57.7 million in 2016, which makes a profit, according to the public sector standards, of 12.2 million compared to 9.7 million in 2016. So an increase of 2.5 million. Now, if we look at what the results are according to your accounting by fund over and above the general fund for the year 2017, you have a surplus of 511,000 some dollars. As for the surplus of the operation for water and storage, an operation of 47 million, that makes a surplus. As for your fund, accounting of 553,900 some dollars. Therefore, you will notice that we proceeded to adjustment the order of 11 million some dollars that I will go through with you. So as for the adjustment, we spread them in three categories. First of all, we see the amounts that are put in as revenue according to the public sector accounting, but are not accounted according to the fund accounting. You have provincial and federal subsidies for the capital in the area of 5.7 million. There's contribution of the developers that are included as income by 1.2 million, and also contribution of other organization of 224,000, and interest credited to the reserve fund that give a total, according to the public sector accounting, of 6.844 million. And now here we see the amount that are put in as liabilities according to municipal rules, but are not recognized as expenses according to the public sector accounting. We have the expenses in capital. They are paid by the operating fund, which is 3.696 million. There's also the reimbursement of capital on the debt, long-term debt of 7.59 million, and also the transfer that are done to the reserve fund in 5.9 million for a total of 17,193,000. And finally, the third category of adjustment that were made to be conformed with the public sector, there is the amortizing for 10.78 million. There's also a loss on the capital in the order of 299,000, and also the annual benefit of entities, expenses, Dieppe, and management 1604. They're consolidated in the order of 124,192, 392. The profit of the year before, of the previous year, that are excluded in the order of 1.125 million, and also other transfers between months for 211,000 for a total of 12,374,000. Finally, if we start with your surplus according to your fund accounting of 553,000, we combine the three categories. We have a surplus according to the financial statement, or according to the audited of the public sector, of 12.218 million. So this completes the figures in financial statement, but I would like to share with you a few ratio or other financial figures. First of all, the financial ratio shows the percentage in dollar with the amount of capital and interest in percentage of your general operating fund. So if we look at 2017, there were 15.5% of your general operating fund that went to reimburse the debt and the interest. If you notice, the last 4 years, the percentage remained quite consistent. And here we show your investment in capital. So in capital for the year 2017, you notice that the city invested 24 million in capital or in building, and compared to the last 10 years, it's the year where your investment are the highest one, the last one. And now if we look as to the debt, the balance of your debt at the end of 2017, 94 million, compared to 2016, 90 million. And the next slide will show you the reconciliation of your debt level. You began the year 90 million, you received new debts or debentures of 11.7 million, and you made reimbursement on the principal of these debts in the order of 7.7 million, which gave you a balance at 94 million at the end of 2017. And if we look at the reserve fund, according to your fund accounting, at the end of December 2017, you had an amount of 2.5 million in the reserve of general operation, an amount of 8.1 million in the general capital, an amount of 461,000 in the water and sewage, an amount of 3.6 million in the immobilization water and sewage, and 159,000 the land for municipal parks. That gives you the reserve fund total at the end of 2017, $14,870,000. So here, it's simply a comparison of your general operating budget with the value of taxation. If you notice, the annual increase of 2017 to 2018 of your general operation budget, you have an increase of 1%. But as for the taxable amount, it increased by 1.4%. And finally here, simply a comparison of your taxing comparison for the city for the year 20. It's 1.6295, so you have an increase of 0.6% in the increase, the taxing increase. This complete my presentation. I don't know if you have any questions. Thank you, members of council. Any questions? What say? The debt of the city, you said that the payment of the debt is 15%. The reimbursement on the capital is 7.5 million. Is the difference between that and the 15% is the interest? Yes, 15.58% includes the principal plus the amount paid, and we divide with your general operating budget. I'm trying to have a relationship between the income of the city, the revenue, that is at, where is it? Where did I see it? 70 million. What we paid on the debt was 7.5. So for me, does that give the 50%? No, the revenue that you see are accounting the public sector accounting. There is a difference with the revenue that you find according to the fund accounting. The general fund differs from the revenue according to the audited auditing. So the 15%. I'm not an accountant. Don't go too fast. I see two figures. One says 7.5, the other gives 15%. We also include the interest and the payment on the principal, includes the interest that you paid. Also, I don't have the figures. We divide that by your operating budget for the financial year. Mr. Terrio, maybe you can help. You can support your colleague, Mr. Cadet. So this is saying is related to the general operating budget. What she's presenting right now includes the general, the water and sewerage, expansion Dieppe. It includes everything consolidated together. But for the general operation, we talk about 15.58% is the amount of interest and capital. So the 7.5 as well as the interest divided over the operating budget, that is 54 million. So there's a difference between the 70 and 54. That makes a difference in what you see at 10% compared to 15%. All right? Sorry, then 10% is. Any more questions from the councillors? If not, once again, thank you very much for your presentation. And that's it. If there's no more questions from the public, neither, we continue with the same way. Mr. Khrushchev, you're welcome to stay, but I will understand if you want to leave following your presentation. 7.3, public presentation for modification to bylaw Z-9 2017. Mr. Fredette. Thank you, Your Worship. Tonight we present the proposed amendment to the zoning bylaw concerning the amendment to be brought following the modification on the Planning Act, where we changed the number of bylaws. We were making reference to a lot of numbers in the amended document. We modified that, and we have proposal in relation to the main guideline of downtown and the urban plan that was presented and accepted by the municipal council by the firm WSP last year. So the presentation, as usual, we will talk about critical date, important date in the process of the amendment of the two, proposed amendment to the zoning bylaw and the municipal plan. The dates, important dates tonight, being the public presentation of April the 9th, on April the 18th, the advisory committee, there will be a meeting to give the recommendation to the municipal council according to notice 110. Period of 30 days that we have to give to the citizens and the developer or any concerned person as to the project that is being proposed tonight. And the council can make a decision as of the 14th of next month. As it was explained, we propose new principles to changes in downtown. The municipal plan, before the final report of WSP, we had proposals that recommended to make some studies. The studies were done, so we can amend the text consequently in the municipal plan by changing the documents, the guideline, and the guide as to the map for the soil. There are certain property north of Champlain, 11 properties that we are recommending a map, a commercial map. We propose to go with the same assignment on south of Champlain Street, being an assignment of the soil downtown, and the 11 owners have been informed accordingly. We spoke to one representative who represents a portfolio of several property, and we got a call from one owner, and the two persons were in favor of the proposed changes. So the land as such are before you. To situate you, as I said, it's between the Street Crystal on the south side and Lorraine and Dubois Streets. And we have the Champlain Street. It's north of Champlain Street, if you wish. As for the proposed amendment to the zoning bylaw, one of the first amendment is the density of downtown. In WSP report, we recommended to intensify the zone downtown. Presently, the zoning bylaw, we can develop a minimum of 2 stories, but however, with the development that came to around 1604, with the density that we want to give to the downtown in height, we have buildings that are being financed, so we go from 2 levels to a minimum of 3 stories. I'll show you the sector that is identified. It's really the ashore sector, and we have to consider that outside the sector, what is in red remains the downtown sector. But as for the sector, the ashore, it's where we'll make sure of having a minimum of 3 stories. Outside, we can go to 5 stories, but we could go to 2. We want to make sure that where we have our knots of intensity, there would be 5 stories. The only thing to be careful is where the market is. I don't know if you can see it. Where we have a market, we left the zone. If ever we wanted to take some expansion in the future, we would have to go to 3 stories to expand the market, but everything that is insured should meet the minimum of 3 stories. Another modification of that zone is that at the present time, all those who would want to do some housings, family unit on the 2nd, 3rd stories or stories higher than the main floor don't have to build any parking, but we want to make sure that public parking for public ends inside the intensification circle is for the need of the public and of the business people. If we have unit on the stories, there should be a ratio of specific parking that will have to be within the site to not to use public parking for the use of municipalities. The last amendment in that zone also is within the roof to give a meaning. It's streetscape. We recommend that the roof of the building, what we've seen the last building that were built, it's a 3-level roof. In the zoning bylaw, we said that new construction must have a flat roof up to a of 10% leaning for the surface that has to be drained accordingly. So if I come back to the slide, previous we talked about the requirements. We also have a few clarifications to make of a few definitions that we have inside zoning zone. We noticed that there were some definitions as to the micro breweries. We had several requests. We had distinction that made it such that these people could not necessarily sell to wholesalers or to sell outside. If it's the purpose of any business is to be able to sell their product. So we modified somewhat. We put some provisions, and this was put in your package when we submitted to you. And it is to make a distinction between a micro brewery and a brewery industrial style. We talk about the lands, the effect of the soil in downtown. We have to do the same thing with the same property and the zoning bylaw. And as it was mentioned in the introduction, we have amendment the bylaws. We refer to the old law. It's not the same number. They have to be changed. So the mapping, the zoning map would go commercial to secondary ward, business to a commercial in the ward central, business central. And finally, the deadline, I represent tonight, we had a public hearing on April the 18th, meeting of the PAC. The public is invited, public hearing, April 23rd. Middle of June, 30-day period we have to give, that is managed according to the Planning Act. And finally, on May 14th, the council can make a decision. We invite the people. If the people in the public would like to consult the bylaw, they are available at the office. Same thing for any bylaw project. When we make some amendments, as soon as we publish them, the notice of meeting document will have to be produced, and it's available for consultation purpose only. Thank you. I don't know if you have any questions. Thank you. Questions from the councillors? No? So the process continues. Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Frenette. Thank you. Number 8, questions by members of the public. Nothing. Number 9, adoption of minutes of the regular council meeting held on March 26, 2018. Moved by Councilor Thibodeau, seconded by Councilor Arsenault. Did we accept the minutes of March 26th? Question on those minutes. No questions. All those in favor say aye. Could be reminded nay. Carried as presented. Next item, 10, memorandum nomination, 10.1 under finance, 10.1.1. Mr. Melanson, please. Thank you, Your Worship. Good evening, everyone. It is recommended that the policy A3 be deleted and replaced by new policy FIN05, the 4 summary elements that were amended to have this new version. We updated the policy, established a formula so that the demand can be made electronically from the website. We change the policy in effect, and we have an increase of cost for certificate and register this compared to neighboring cities to be equal. A summary of the new policy FIN05 for approval according to our recommendations. Questions from the councillors? Reading, of course. For the reading, Mr. Thibodeau. Thank you, Your Worship. That council accept policy A-3 entitled Municipal Indebtedness Certificates adopted September the 12th, 2005 be repealed and replaced by policy FIN-05 entitled Municipal Indebtedness Certificate Request. I so moved by Councilor Thibodeau, seconded by Councilor Godet on the question. No question. All those in favor say aye. Can be reminded nay. Carried as presented. 10.1.2. The financial statement. Reading, please. That council adopt the audited financial statement of the City of Dieppe for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2017, as presented by the firm Ernst & Young. I so move. Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Ala on the question. I have a question. Do we say audited? Audited, or in French, in English also. No other question. All those in favor say aye. Contrary reminded nay. Carried as presented. With all that, brings us to 10.2.1. Contract extension on the waste collection disposal services. Yes, Your Worship. We brought this previously. There was a question on the renewal and the condition of the renewal. It is recommended to adopt it following a verification of the file, and upon checking with our lawyers, the firm McIntyre Finn, the agreement was that the first year was an agreement with a fixed price, and years 2 and 3 there was an increase of 2% for each year. And here, if we continue the same principle for 4 and 5, an increase of 2% per year, it respects the principle of the initial contract. It is recommended by management, by administration, following the recommendation of our lawyers to accept it. It is for your recommendation tonight, or your consideration for the reading of the proposal, Mr. Sashno. Thank you, Your Worship. That council authorized an extension to the contract with Faro Waste and Recycling, Inc. until June the 30th, 2020 for the blue, clear, and green waste collection and disposal service at a cost of $1,165,911.30. HST included and further authorized expenditure be defrayed from account 1-2-42-69-2690, general operating budget, solid waste disposal. I so move. Moved by Councillor Arsenault, seconded by Councillor Godet. On the question, Mr. Anna. Thank you, Mr. Administrator. There's two options. We extend that, or we call for tender. We see that our neighboring city is very proactive on tendering. We would like to price 2%, 2%, 4%. According to your advice, is it in line with what we see throughout the province with garbage? I wouldn't want to be told that we didn't have a call for tender for this year. According to the staff, we think we have a good agreement. It is to the advantage of the municipality. Someone could come and see us and give us a price, knowing the price that we presently have. According to our verification, it is beneficial for the city. Thank you. No more questions. All those in favor, say aye. Contrary minded, nay. Carried as presented. 11, no municipal bylaws. Notice of motion number 12. Any? Nobody dares. Number 13, inquiries and announcement by municipal councillors. On my left, we should start. Mr. Ada. Two questions. Mike. I have a question, Mr. Spencer, on Melanson Road. My fault, says the mayor. My first question for the manager and Mrs. Spencer is the sidewalk that we voted to have a sidewalk on Melanson Street. 2 schools are being built. I'd like to have an account of the deadline for the sidewalk on Melanson. I received a few emails recently from parents who want to make sure that in fact we'll have our sidewalk this year. That's number one. Your worship, yes, in fact it is a multifunctional trail that was built last summer. This one should begin around the 3rd week of June to finish by the fall, but it'll be ready for schools.
Knowles, I've received a email regarding snow removal in our city. One of our residents was concerned that snow removal was being done at a very late time, hence between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. I can't blame the individual of maybe asking why we're doing snow removal that late at night. So, Mr. Knowles, what's our policy regarding snow removal, and is there ways that we can maybe do it during the day to alleviate some of those concerns? Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We do try to not get in residential areas late at night. 11 o'clock is usually the cutoff if we're going to be there. In that case, we were trying to clean up some snow left in cul-de-sacs at the end of the year, and it's over. It was done. That was about the end of it. But
is snow removal done pretty much all over, starting when snow season, when winter starts, and we do all during the year, or just by the end of the winter, or?
No, we remove, we have like 100 and, I'm going to say 50 cul-de-sacs in the city. And there's about, most of them we try to put the snow around the outside edges and not put in the center, but there's some that have driveways that are really tight. So we have to put it in the center, and we remove snow from, I'm going to say 15 or so cul-de-sacs. We haul it away with trucks. That would have been one of them.
So I just want to make sure that I echo the sentiments of the resident that we should respect that cutoff at 11 p.m. because I think when having snow removal after 11 p.m., It's just not, some people will go to work the next day, so let's hope that we can at least respect that. Monsieur le maire,
Your worship, as third one, we all know the tragedy that happened in Humboldt, the Broncos, population of 6,000 people in Saskatchewan. I hope on behalf of the city you will send a letter to the citizens of Humboldt. We had a junior hockey team. We know what it is. I played hockey. We all went on buses. We used buses, ringuette, soccer, hockey. It could happen anytime. So I offer my condolences and my sincere sympathy to the parents of the hockey family in Canada. That's it. Thank you, Ms. Arsenault. Thank you, Your Worship. I also have a question for Mr. Spencer. It has to do with the asphalt thing for our parking lot in front of City Hall. I know that I'm as guilty as anyone else. I always get on the lawn with my car. So I wonder if it will be asphalted instead of having a new lawn. Mrs. Spencer, thank you, Your Worship. To answer your question, it's yes and no. We will asphalt, but there will be a border around the parking lot. We will keep a green space. We will not asphalt where there's a green space, but the border will avoid from reproducing it. I'll try not to drive over it. Something else, I want to thank and say bravo to the city and all those who work on the projects to lower our debt level at 15%. It's fantastic. Thank you to all those who work on that effort to reach that level. In the 12 years ago, was it not 24%? That level just under 24, yes. Now we're down to 15. Congratulations. Thank you. And I also want to offer my condolences to the families of the young hockey players. And I want to remind you that on the weekend was the 10th anniversary of the accident, the boys in red in Bathurst. So I want to offer my respect. Thank you, Mrs. Arsenault, Councillor Thibodeau. Thank you, Your Worship. It's not a question, it's a comment that was given to me since we left Highway 15, all the traffic that go through Lakeburn on Champlain Street. At the other extremity, we say it has become a racetrack. I don't know if we can approach the police and ask them if there's anything that can be done. I'll share the message. That's all for me. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Leblanc. Thank you, Your Worship. Other than my condolences to the Broncos families, I have nothing else for tonight. Thank you, Councillor Gadet. Thank you, Your Worship. A few statements. Congratulations. Bravo to the hockey team from the city of Dieppe who went in the Francophone tournament for 2018. That tournament, they won the final 5-1 against the Francophone South District team. Money was given to the pro youth on behalf of the city. It's a good thing. In addition, 2018 allowed to give over $15,000 to 15 organizations. It's an event that is worthwhile. Congratulations to the members of the team. Second announcement is the harmonica team from Mathieu Martin in their participation at Music Fest Quebec in Montreal on April the 5th. Harmonica won the silver medal. and more. With that element plus the money was invited to participate in the international tournament in 2019 in an area to be determined. Congratulations to all the youth who participate. It requires a lot of time, a lot of perseverance, a lot of practice. Congratulations to one and all. Last thing, I had the opportunity to attend the unveiling of the new map of the town of Shediac with a new video. I have the impression it's something that will give them a new start. This afternoon, where the organization of the municipality or different departments were present to make known the different services and activities. So it's really good for the advancement of the town. They had a video that will be shown within the next few years. The logo plus the slogan of the town is, I feel like Shediac. That's the slogan. Congratulations to the town of Shediac, that's all. Thank you, Mr. Gaudette. As all members of council, certainly, I think that we all had strong moments during the weekend following the accident from the Humboldt's Broncos, the Junior A team from Saskatchewan. As it was mentioned, many of us, our children, our grandchildren, for some of us, travel by bus or by car almost every weekend or second weekend to participate in activities. So we have all felt very strongly on behalf of the City of Dieppe Municipal Councils. I want to offer our greatest condolences, the best wishes of surviving mentally that event. And as it was mentioned, we'll send a letter addressed to all the citizens, members of the team of the Broncos, to express our thought. On that, it's all. Good evening to one and all. Good evening.